I'm sorry. I was playing with something and I thought I could complete it in time. Hey, good after morning, good evening, good day, wherever you are in the planet. I don't know the song that the flute plays. Something like that. Okay, I've amused myself. We are therefore ready.
HR, pop and step. Push your bend when things get rough. HR, pop and step. Can't do a little cause you can't do enough.
Once upon a summertime, just a dream from yesterday, a boy in this magic golden flute heard a boat from off the bay.
Come and play with me, Jimmy, come and play with me, and I will take you on a trip far across the sea.
But the boat belonged to a kooky old witch who had it.
There. That looks like it's okay. Or not. How long until Witchy Poo? There we go. Witchy Poo has gone away. Witchy Poo, what a great name, huh? Alright, back to my control panel here. Back to business. And that's what it all looks like. Then, set that up and we're cooking. Hey, well, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. And welcome once again Thursday to ADRAMADA, another Dave Rush Ask Me Anything digital alchemy. I am the aforementioned Dave Rush. I have no title. the unemployed Dave Rush. I am still, however, your tech from Texas. And, I guess I wish I was here longer. I'd have a Texas accent. It would go really well with this. I'd have to change hats. But I have some good cowboy hats around here. At any rate, so we get together once a week because we're here. We like tech. And we're going to get a little further into tech than I was planning on today because Scott and I were talking yesterday and he has a sudden change in his schedule and was not able to make the show tonight. So I thought about it last night and I said, well, can I put together a show? I'm unemployed. It's not like I have to do anything for my old employer. So I didn't have to do anything last night. And I thought about it. Could I come up with a show? And last night, after we talked, I said, well, just in case I can't, I will load up on the tech news, which is what I did this morning. And then right after that, I said, oh my gosh, I've got a great topic. So we got a topic today. So it's a show. Excuse me. Let us see who's here. There we go. Just a couple people. Kylie's here. Joey Quetzal, first one in by, 5.5 hours? Way to go, Joey. I think it was about when I made the show setup. Elwood, of course, always here. Ever is perfect on timing, a half an hour before showtime. I swear you've got an alarm clock that says half an hour till showtime. Go check in. Because it's always right on the minute, 30 minutes prior. I don't have class till 7. That's the same time Kylie has told everybody that she doesn't have class. Kylie, you have class. You are a classy lady. Kylie, I got a new train set and I'm building it right now. Exciting. What gauge? And if you say HO, don't answer. Any other gauge I will accept, but not HO. And if I were my old boss, the world, I lose track of time. The world is packed with things, right? Technology, that's what we do. Cooking, weather, roller coasters. Okay, no gauge. And some people they learn something about it. And that's the only thing that they ever learn about it. But that one thing, that when they hear a topic, they spit out their one little factoid about it and then move on. It's a drive-by, thinking of some people and some things. And I'm not going to call anybody out or throw anybody under the bus. But there is somebody that we all know and love that whenever you bring up trades, and you mentioned HO, he'll say, well, you know why it's called HO? Because it's half of O gauge. And the first time he ever said that, I didn't know it. So, that's one of the little facts for me as well. I am not a trained modeler, a modeler trainer, whatever they would call themselves. But I do have one or two of them here. And one of them is a big full-size O gauge, which hasn't been pulled out since my kid was a kid. And likewise, I haven't pulled this one out, but I do love this one. My little N gauge Bachmann set. Man, I love that thing. At least I love that thing. I have low voice and audio skipping. All right, let's head this thing off right at the pass right now. I'm going to kill it, and I'll be back in 20 seconds. Okay, am I back? I feel back. Prep that. I guess I got to update this screen, but I think I'm there. And I'm just going to keep on going. They were your father's, and you're planning on selling them, huh? Well, that happens. I sold most of my father's stuff, kept a couple for nostalgia's sake, and, there's only so much stuff you can keep and only so much nostalgia, especially, when you're at this stage of graybeardism. Oh, 40s and 50s. Wow. Well, your father's still around. Yeah. Finding the value of some of that older stuff. I took some of his stuff to a variety of appraisal type people, some official appraisers and some of them for opinion. And I felt every time like I was just getting railroaded, you'll pardon the pun, and shafted. So, okay, good. Come on to Canada and bring me some Tullowit. Oh, man. I'm sorry, I got an itchy ear. Nothing like sticking your finger in your ear on camera. I can't swim that far. Can't swim that cold. Oh, man. No, I'm not going to do it. I am not going to say that Matthew Perry was a Canadian and those guys can't swim and that's why he wound up face down in his hot tub. I will not say that. Perhaps not. All right. Well, anyways, here. Still No Shave November. This was going to be, as I said, a super special show. It was going to be the first time that we had our a guest, but the inimitable Scott Jernigan, who was slated to join us, had to change his schedule, so we are pushing that back. Not sure how grand the impact on his schedule is if we're going to push this back 1, 2, or 3 weeks, but it certainly won't be more than a month, and I have so much stuff ready to go, so whenever he calls me up and says, hey, I'm ready, fire up on Thursday, then it will happen. YouTube has implemented a new ad blocker policy. If you block their ads, they only let you do that 3 times, and then they shut off your ability to watch YouTube videos. I won't say 2 words to them. One that might start with an F and one that might start with an E and one that might start with a B. But I feel all those sentiments and I will not support them anymore. They make money off of me doing this. I make no money and I never want to. But Dave attracts people. Okay, not tons, not tens of thousands, but attract. And so every time somebody wants to watch his show, we got to hit them with an ad. No, sorry, I'm not here to support them. And, I appreciate the largesse that they have provided to myself and people like me to be able to have a platform to present information. But no, I'm not going to support their desire to make money off of my intellectual property or whatever. So, fixes. Temporary fix. You can open the URL in a private window. I don't know how many, if that's going to eventually cut off and you can't do it more than 3 times. Sorry, it's dark now. And so I don't have my curtain closed. to stop the sun from coming in, but now I'm being distracted by all the things outside my window. Anyway, so temp fix, open it in a private window. Long-term fix, unblock with your ad blockers. I'm not doing that. I'm not happy with either of those solutions. And so I am evaluating alternative sites, and I will switch in the coming weeks. It's got to be a site that's publicly accessible. You don't have to be a member of, other than, you know, like you got to be a member of Google, I suppose. But I will find a platform, and the show will relocate. Here's 2 words for Google/YouTube. Up yours. And that's that. And then we did this. What do I got going on here? Okay, so I'm trying something new. I think it's going to work. So there's my word cloud of the week. I just sat down at my favorite word cloud generator. And before I did that, I said to myself, there must be a lot of anagrams that you can make with ADRAMADA. So I found an anagram generator, and one of them said there are no anagrams. And that's true. If you try to use every letter in ADRAMADA, there was no site that had that. But if you find some sites that say I'm willing to make smaller words out of them, then we come up with this marvelous. I'm also going to experiment with this week. Well, that didn't work out the way it was supposed to. Let me try that again. Oh, I see. That's what I have to do there. Okay. So I have dangerously learned how to do picture-in-picture. Yeah, I know. Nobody asked for that, did they? So last week, we did a primer on Pixie Boot servers. What is it? Who's using it? Why? Some few tech steps, some of the software that you need, and things like that. In the future, we will build a Pixie Boot server and boot up a computer or several from it. And you can boot up anything, right? So I can boot up a Pi, I can boot up any kind of x86, Windows or Linux box, whatever. Today, because of our show cancellation, I was just thinking, I said, looking here at this grand mess that I have, it just gets worse. I've got to clean it up, and I can't. I keep adding more to it. I've got a new piece of equipment in this week that is going to swap out one of those, and it's going to make it messier. So I've really got to attack this place. Hey, I'm unemployed. I'll be able to take a day or two next week and do that. And by the way, being unemployed is the worst thing. I work harder as an unemployed person, A, working on getting employed, and B, the missus, you're not at work today. You could. Yes, so I am getting lots and lots of heavy-duty honeydews around the house. Anyways, so I was thinking, while I was doing nothing, just sitting here thinking about all of the various operating systems and Linux distros and things like that I've installed on this grand variety of computers that I have. And it's a lot. And it does not scratch the surface of what we would do. And then I started thinking, there's a pretty good list. I was about to touch something that's leaning over there, but it will probably knock over a dozen things. Keep my hands off. How many Linux distros have we installed on just Raspberry Pis? And it's a pretty extensive list. And then I said to myself, but how much more is there? And so that was the rabbit hole that I went down. And I found a great article detailing a lot of the ready-to-go downloadable images of various operating systems, including Linux and lots of subflavors. And I throw this, okay, so that's what we're going to do today. I'm just going to talk to you about some cool distros, and their article is by no means complete. There are some, that we have done on here. There are some that I know of that I haven't done yet, but I have on my list. Here comes the hiccups. I'll show you a slide of this later, but let me give you an idea of what's up and coming. By the way, Scott sent me a note after we talked where he entitled his episode. I created a title that was, technical and boring and whatever, but Scott's so much more creative than I have. And so he shared some thoughts with me. And along the way, he used this title that he created that, we never even talked about. It's, obviously just, I came up with it. It's brilliant. That's what it's going to be. And he just used it in casual conversation in this email or text or whatever he sent to me. He said something to the effect that, sorry, we've got to push back G's and U. Capital G, small s, plural G, and U, not the letter U. And I love that. He's just so good. So I recreated the banner today where mine said something about comparing real world Wi-Fi and cellular network speeds. G's and U's. That's it, man. Or G's and U. So somewhere in this next 5 weeks, I'm going to shuffle that in. It's going to be week number 6 into one of these other 5 topics. Don't hold me to the dates on these, but this is my tentative plan. Next week, we did an SE Linux introduction and pre-primer. So next week there's not much to it, but I'm going to show you how to engage SE Linux. We talked about what it is. I'll do a quick refresher on that, but we're going to get a little deeper into SE Linux. That's security enhanced Linux. The following week and last day of the month of November, the Windows Sandbox. Yeah, we're not all Linux, and we're all tech, and lately it's computer tech, but man, that's going to be cool. I think you're going to like that one. The following week, one of the people who got caught up in the carnage at my office last week, we're very good friends outside the office, and they told me that one of the things that they were always wishing that we had better, more, something like that, was a customer relationship management software. We use one in the office. It's very old. It's very dated. It doesn't hook into anything. And so, me, she's trying to put this down right here. I'm going to make sure I don't throw anybody under a bus. They want certain features. And if you want those features, there's a reason we didn't have it at our office, because it ain't cheap. But you know me, I can find it. If it exists cheap, I will find it. And I found it. And I found a whole bunch of them, and I experimented with them, and I built one that had everything they wanted. It's got all the hooks and everything like that. It's called CRM. It's officially, I think it's called Odoo, O-D-O-O, which is a framework program that allows you to install modules. And one of those modules is a very sophisticated CRM, Customer Relationship Manager module. So I built that. It's been running for about a week. This person has been testing it, and I'm waiting to get full feedback. I can see when they log in, and I don't bother to look what they do other than, hey, look, there's a customer that's been inputted in there as test data or something like that. Anyways, I'm going to show you how to install that. It is fun. It is fantastic. I never knew anything about CRM before I started that. Now I know about a week's worth, but wow. Week after that, middle of December, we're going to continue on our Pixie boot process. We've done first step, which was a primer. What is Pixie booting? The next step is ostensibly to create a Pixie boot server, but that's kind of useless unless you do something else first. You've got to make a boot image file, something that will come from the Pixie server over the network into the thin client and get loaded into memory and boot up. So that's what I'm going to do mid-December. We're going to create a bootable ISO to be used in a Pixie boot. And then the following week, we'll close up the Pixie boot process by actually building a Pixie boot server and putting that in there. So that's the next 6 shows. Going to be some good stuff. Alrighty, let us do this. No. You cannot be your own director and producer very well, anyways. Oh, is that going to work? I didn't think to test that. Okay. Maybe I can make it work. So, hey, let's see what's going on here with everybody, and then we'll do tech news of the week. How are we doing on time here? All right, I'm going to slam through the tech news because I really want to get through this other stuff. All right, reading messages. It's raining here in southern Texas, East Texas, wherever we are. Cancel that for. I'll bust open the box and share pics on a. Oh, good. That'd be awesome. Do that. The rumble of YouTube. Dodecagon. I know what a dodecahedron is. Ish. Dodecagram. I regularly use dodecahedrons. There we go. Mostly icosahedrons. Okay. Greetings, Jason. Hey, Jason. I got a question for you on one of the back channels. Just want to find out how the outcome of your meetings went. You haven't posted anything, really awesome. This is it. So maybe nowhere, but I'm praying for you, buddy. All right. Status on my RPi 5 order. There is no status. The AC power supplies are in. They haven't shipped, and I don't really want them to ship until everything is ready to ship at once. So, but this is really kind of ticking me off because some people are getting their Pi 5s, and SparkFun, which is one of their authorized dealers, still says on back order, and that's just bugging me. All right, let me try something that I didn't plan on. Oh, that worked. That's nice. All right, next item in the news. Broadcom. Okay, Broadcom is a CPU manufacturer, not to be confused with ARM, which is a CPU designer. So you want a CPU for your new embedded system, for your single board computer, whatever, you go to ARM and get together with them and they design it. And then you have to go to somebody to actually manufacture it for you. And the big manufacturer is Broadcom. Broadcom makes the ARM chips that are in Raspberries and so many others. Anyways, Broadcom on October 30th acquired VMware. And VMware used to be its own company, and then they got bought out by Dell, and now they are owned by Broadcom. So the one thing I expect that to mean is the VMware manager, the hypervisor for Raspberry Pi was a fling. It was, some guys working on their own and, hey, look what we made. Sure, go ahead and stick it on the download list kind of thing. But I think it'll probably get a little more formal and a little more powerful. So very excited about that. Pebble. Did you ever hear of Pebble? That's why it's in the news. A few people did, but not many. So back when Elon Musk bought Twitter and subsequently renamed it X, there were 3 competitors that either arose or already existed and started ramping up their presence. There was a platform called T2, Town Square, which almost immediately rebranded as Pebble. Blue Sky was out there and still is. Mastodon was out there and still is. Blue Sky and Pebble were a closed system. You couldn't just say, I want to be on Pebble and go sign up and get an account and be on Pebble. You had to get invited. And what they would do is for all of their members, whoever they invited to become members, once a week they would give them an invitation to invite someone. And they would, and then those people would get an invitation. It was supposed to be kind of an asymptotic logarithmic growth. Didn't quite work out that way. It had one other. Oh, by the way, Blue Sky does exactly the same thing, and they are cranking out membership like crazy. There was a lot of similarities, like Twitter. They 280 character limit, but here was their other thing that made them notably different. You had to be kind, right? There was no room and no allowance on there. The moderators would kill, the Autobots would kill anything mean, snarky, nasty, whatever. People like to be mean, nasty, snarky, and whatever, because there is this marvelous anonymity that comes with so many of these platforms. You would not say, or many people would not say to another person's face what they say to and about them online. So Pebble wanted to do the same thing. Well, Pebble closed the doors, at the beginning of the month, November 1st, something like that. Yeah. So if you were participating in Pebble, you are no longer doing so. What's going on with Fedora? There has been a rumor that Fedora is going to add KDE Plasma support, which it's the underlying technology that supports their graphical environment. And so they've always used a different system, and they were going to add KDE Plasma. Well, the official release is due out at the end of February 2024, and not only has it now been made official, there will be KDE Plasma, they have killed their existing system, their existing GUI handling system. So this was a shocker to everyone. They use X11 right now. Where do you know X11 from? X11 is what we use in Windows to do remote terminal. Microsoft Remote Terminal, MST. So that's a shocker. It's a huge change. There will be problems that come from it. Raspberry Pi OS is going through those problems as well. They made some major changes, and they're slowly fixing them, but it's going to be months before they're all totally behind us. So thought that one was interesting. By the way, that'll be Fedora version 40. And speaking of Red Hat distros, OpenELA, the Open Enterprise Linux Association, formed to make sure that the binaries used to create Enterprise Linux, like Red Hat Enterprise Linux and Fedora Enterprise Linux and Alma Enterprise Linux and Rocky Enterprise, and so on. You get the idea. They created this foundation because Red Hat created a paywall that appears to at least contradict the spirit of the open license under which Linux is developed. So they said, you know what, we're all in that business, and there's lots of other people in the business. We're going to make sure that these binaries are still available. And so they made available the first release of every binary, all free and open source. You want to go make your own Enterprise Linux, go pick them up, build yourself a tool chain, and off you go. There's a lot of impact to this. I'm going to let it go, because I got things to do and things to talk about. Along with the mergers and buyouts and acquisitions this week, ARM, the CPU designer, and the ones who designed the CPU that's in the Raspberry Pi, extended their long-term partnership with Raspberry Pi by becoming a minority stakeholder in Raspberry Pi Limited. We don't know what it means. We know that ARM and Broadcom tried to, ARM and Raspberry Pi tried to merge early this year, and they couldn't get past the regulatory problems. So they said, well, fine, we'll at least be fiscally joined administrative partners. So there we go. All right, next one. Wacky tech news in the news. There is an electric shuttle bus in San Francisco operated by Google. They have a lot. There's a lot of electric vehicles in San Francisco. Well, this particular one, you can see the shuttle bus on the left-hand side of this image. It lost power going up this hill, careened down the hill. Enough injury inside to one person to hospitalize him, and wiped out about 9 cars in the process. You can see all the smash up on the front top half, and the back half of the bus is kind of folded in. That shows some of the vehicles here. I shouldn't laugh. Nobody died. And you know, I'm not against EVs. I'm just against the lies that they tell about them. What else in EVs here? Okay, new study came out this week from George Washington University. I'm not sure what this means, but EV drivers drive less miles per year than carbon fuel drivers. Now, we could walk away and say, okay, that was a headline, drive by, and off we go. But the gap was huge. Electric cars averaging 7,000 miles a year. Gas car a little shy of 12,000. That's always been the case. And the people who are real proponents of the benefits of EV as far as the ecology goes are very upset about this. They said this just doesn't work. Low mileage drivers are not helping save the world. We need to get people who drive long distances every year, 12,000 miles a year, 20,000 miles a year, behind these. I went a little further down the rabbit hole and I said, why? And so I went researching states that drive the most, and vehicles and people types and age groups and things like that. And while there's obviously a whole bunch of factors in there, I found one major overriding considerations, and that is the cost to operate them on a per mile basis. So again, pre-government grant expenses, it's about $17 equivalent. However far you can get in a gas car for $17, $17. That's how far you get in one of these things, and it costs a lot more. So I want a Maserati. I'm serious. This sounds like a Dave joke. It's not. I want a Maserati. I will have a Maserati. It won't be new. Mileage of a Maserati with this great big monstrous V8 engines that they have is about the same as my big engine Jeep that I haul trailers with. And when I'm hauling trailers, I'm getting 8 to 12 miles a gallon on there. So for me, I am not in the class of people who A, should buy a Maserati, and B, who can afford to put gas in a Maserati and make a trip on it. So my Jeep is mission driven. I don't go to the grocery store with it. I use the Jeep when I have to haul a trailer or a heavy load or something like that, and never use it for long distance. And so the Maserati will be, and it's kind of the same thing, I think, with EVs. Use them when it's appropriate to use them, because they cost so much on a per mile, per gallon equivalent basis. Just a couple more quickie news items. This one was interesting. The more sources that you give AI to learn from when it comes to written language, the harder it is to learn. It tries to understand all the voicings and the usage of terms and things like that. Very, very challenging for them. So you give them instances of papers and documents from a small sample of writers, and they can assimilate that very quickly, relatively speaking. And then on to Othello. Oh, wait a minute, not that Othello. That one. A Japanese computer company confirmed yet another milestone in supercomputing. They claim that Othello has been solved. It's an old game. It's 140 years old, rooted in the Shakespearean drama of the same name. And computers have been trying to figure out how to win every time. And there's all kinds of definitions of win and whatever, but basically they have hit the milestone that says we've achieved the first level of win. It's complicated. Our work needs to be checked. There's always a chance that we blew it or that there's a computational error. So, we want other people to envision this, but it looks like it's solved. So it's an interesting thing. The company, by the way, is MN-J Supercomputing. No, it's not. That's the name of their supercomputing cluster. They didn't give the name of his company, but they did give his name, Takazawa. All right, that's all of the news that's in the news. Checking up here. Man, I got one that I got to do with you guys. I've been keeping this one in my pocket for a couple of months. I need to get a little more paperwork done with the old company, and then I've got some news to share. It's not news, but I have something I wanted to talk about, and I've kind of didn't want to step on anybody's toes, but something near and dear to my heart. All right, so next topic is the project. Let's see who's doing what and saying what and thinking about it. X11 is the display manager, KDE. Hey, look. Oh, I was waiting for Patricia Grace to say that. Yes, you're exactly right. Okay, X11 display manager, KDE, mirror, genome, window manager. Okay, you're exactly right. You are correct. Raspberry Pi has to be billions. I'm trying to play back everything that I said and make that fit in there. There's lots out there. Oh, Patricia Grace, just a minute. I assumed you were talking about self-driving cars and AI. Nope. Writing. Hey, by the way, I'm in the job hunt world. Going through all kinds of things that I do and that are peripherally related to what I do. And there is a company, I've applied for a couple positions with them. And as you go through their checklist of, here's the first set of stuff you're going to submit, a new box has appeared. I've applied with these folks in the past. I've never seen this box that says, I affirm and attest that everything that I will submit, written, verbal, whatever, is created in my own words, and that I did not and will not in any way use an artificial intelligence such as ChatGPT. Click here to agree. I thought that was fascinating. Of course, I didn't agree to it. No, that's because EV owners spend a lot of time charging or sitting with dead batteries. Just Grace was about an electric bus that stopped working while going up a hill and caused it to roll back down. Yeah, so many questions, right? Don't the brakes work? Isn't there a parking brake, a manual drum brake, something? Yeah, it is good. Thank you, Alex. Nice to see you. I usually do a greeting for everybody, and I apologize. Did not get around to that. All righty, kiddos. Well, let's see. It's 40 minutes past the hour. I have 23 distros to get through. They won't all take 1 minute. I'll slam through some of them in about 30 seconds. So I've got a whole bunch of distros to talk about that are available to run quick and easy on a Raspberry Pi. There are harder ways to do some of these. This list isn't, well, here, let me just dive into my notes here so I don't get out of order here. So if I ask you to make a list of operating systems, that's it. Person on the street, I call my, hey, make a list of OSs. Windows, Mac OS, Linux. And then you start thinking a little bit more because you guys are techie. Android, iOS. Oh, wait, Windows. 40 different flavors of Windows. 40 different editions. Home and Pro. Linux, don't even get me started. Bazillions. Other operating systems that don't fit within those three, like RISC OS. If you could list them all, they would be in the thousands, perhaps approaching the tens of thousands. So I found this article that listed 23 of them, and I thought, oh, that's probably pretty complete. At least as far as they all have images. All you got to do is burn the image with either the Raspberry Pi Imager or Rufus or Win32 Write or whatever. What's the other one that I'm missing? The big one. Somebody put it up there. It starts with B. Belina Etcher. So all those can be burned with those, and there's lots of other ways to do this. So I got a neat little article that I will share with you here on the chat feed. 23 distros, and there's more than distros for our Pi. Rump, rump. So you can follow along with what I'm doing here. I've added some of my own and I've reordered them and so forth. Excuse me. I know, I didn't size that one. It happens, all right? I slammed this all together today. So, of course, we start out with the one that everybody knows, Raspberry Pi OS. Whoops. Try that again. Boy, there's just no love. When you hit the wrong button on this thing, you got to cycle through everything. There's the bus, Patricia Grace. And the damage. The carnage that it did. Come on, the Othello thing was cute. So these are the distros that I'm going to at least give a little bit of lip service to. And I'm going to talk about all of these in order. If you want a copy of this, send me an email. drushtx@adramada.com. I'll send it to you. I know I'm supposed to put all this stuff on the website. Maybe I have time now. So we start out with, of course, the one that was made for it. And that's the thing I wanted to mention here. So distro, you can categorize all these different operating systems and distros in so many different ways. But what I think fits today's discussion really well, by the way, prepare to hang out for 10 minutes more because I want to get through all this. There's some really good stuff here. Is there are operating systems out there that were made for other platforms, x86 platforms, mainframe platforms, bazillions of other kinds of platforms, RISC platforms that have been converted, called ported, over to run on ARM chips, such as those you find in Raspberry Pi. Then there are distros that have been created just to run on particular hardware, a specific ARM chip. And then there's the other way around. We take that stuff that was completely designed and dedicated for this platform, and then they port it for other platforms like x86. So we're going to run into all three of those types. So Raspberry Pi OS kind of sort of designed exclusively for the ARM chip and the Raspberry Pi, but it was based on Debian, so they had to use a lot of Debian stuff, and that stuff had to be ported. Good stuff, Maynard. All right, this looks like Kodi. It's not. This is OSMC, Open Source Media Center. It's a free, simple, open source, easy to use, standalone Kodi OS capable of playing just about any kind of media format. So you can get a Kodi image, or you can take Raspberry Pi OS and install Kodi on there. But OSMC is a distro that's completely tweaked and ready to rock with OpenELEC and Kodi and some other good things in there. RISC OS. I played with this a little bit a couple of months ago. RISC OS is not a Linux operating system. It is its own independent operating system. It's cool. It had its heyday. It faded. And it's growing again because they are making more RISC single board computers embedding them in things. They're very powerful. And if you can use Windows and if you can use graphical Linux, you can use RISC OS. The big question right now, and it's growing, the answer is growing, is applications and their availability. But it's a pretty cool OS. It's nice. Why do I care about all these different OSs? Because they all have something different to offer. Some of them exist just because they're really small and lightweight. Some of them are jam-packed with features. Some of them are focused so that they only do this one thing really well. So you got to pick the one that's right for you. This one is right for you on a Raspberry Pi if you are also going to or are playing in the actual RISC world, RISC single board computers and computers with RISC chips in them. It's a great learning platform. That's what I've always wanted these shows to be when we talk about Raspis, is how to use it as a tool to learn. Okay, and have some fun too. How about Windows for IoT? So this is a stripped down version of Windows. It's been ported to run on the ARM, and it doesn't, you can't use it on the Raspberry Pi. You install it on the Raspberry Pi, and then you have to have a copy of Windows running on a traditional computer, and you use it to configure and operate the Pi, which in turn operates your whole IoT environment in your home or business or whatever. But that image is out there ready to install. It's not too hard to learn. Here's another gaming framework, Laka. A long time ago, back in the days of AMA and Drama, I was doing a show one day. So I think I was sitting in for Mike talking a little bit about Raspberry Pi that day. And somebody said, what about Laka? And I said, I don't know, I'll look it up. And I did look it up. And it's a gaming framework. It's lightweight, open source distro that'll let you turn a small computer, a Pi type, into a full-blown gaming console. So kind of like RetroPie, but a little more core level. The user interface looks like a PS4. So if you're used to playing the PS environment, there you go. Sticking with the game theme, RetroPie. We did an episode of Drama on this. Drama on this late last year, mid last year, something like that. You can look it up on the playlist on the Total Seminars website. Or if you really want it, send me an email. I might just have all of my shows archived and zipped up and ready to email to somebody. That's drushtx@adramada.com. This one gets fun. Ubuntu Core. This means Ubuntu, okay? And in its default installation configuration. This is current 2204 Jammy Jellyfish. And then there's about 20 other Ubuntu distros with different GUI frameworks and things like that. So we got one coming up, Ubuntu Mate, Ubuntu Cinnamon, all kinds of other Ubuntus. The core is still the same. You just add the graphical environment, the desktop that makes you happy. How about this one? Linutop, or Linutop if you like. Linutop is a signage kiosk system. So it's all ready to go out the box. All you do is add the videos and images that you want, set up how long you want them to display for and cycle, and a couple other configuration things like that, and then it'll run standalone. You can remote into it if you give it an internet connection. It's really cool. It's just a standard kiosk setup for signage. There is a free version and there is a paid pro version. Runs fine on older hardware. Raspberry Pi Bs, B+, 2s, 3s, certainly 4s, and presumably 5s. Ubuntu Mate. It's just Ubuntu with a different desktop and graphical interface. Mate does like 4 gigs on a high-speed card. Here's another IoT one. This is an OS that runs on a Raspberry Pi. It's totally focused on being an IoT manager. You don't need another computer to do it. Obviously you're going to need IoT devices that it can talk to wirelessly. This is called Domotics. So free and open source home automation system enable users to monitor and configure all your IoT devices, switches, sensors, meters, temperature, electric, gas, UV, wind, whatever you got that's IoT. And the cool thing is it's scalable HTML5, so you can access this thing anytime, anywhere in the world through its browser interface or through its web interface. I mentioned in the tech news of the week, we're almost done here, by the way. Yeah, better than halfway through anyways, that there were 3 companies that got together to preserve the enterprise Linux binaries. This is one of the 3 companies, OpenSUSE, S-U-S-E, and they have a Raspberry Pi ready to go image. It's an enterprise Linux, very similar to Red Hat. How about another flavor of Linux? Gentoo. Gentoo, free open source, flexible Linux distro, highly customizable for tasks. Used to be kind of general purpose. Today, they are gearing those tasks more toward IoT management. This one, historically, was very nasty, Arch Linux. Because Arch, you had to take the binaries, compile them, and build a distro out of them. And that's still true. It's all available. But about a year and a half ago, they said, we want to get a little more mainstream. And so they have pre-created some images, including multiple Raspberry Pi images. So if you like to play Arch, but you want the core stuff already done in advance and some pre-installed common apps, this version of Arch, it's often called RaspArch, may be for you. We all should know this one. We've done enough shows on it. We've used it, done a lot of projects. That's Kali Linux. That's a pretty old version. I couldn't find a modern image to get on there, so we're getting old there. But Kali Linux, and then it's interesting to me, they mentioned Kali in this article. They did not mention Parrot Linux. Early this year, I did a Parrot Linux on Raspberry Pi, and it's awesome. FreeBSD. This was in the news a couple of weeks ago. Guy 25 years ago installs a FreeBSD on an off-the-shelf computer, sets up a company with some stuff they need, works with them for a year or two on their as-needed basis, and then they lose touch. And then he got a call from them a couple of months ago, talking real time now, that says, hey, can you come back and work on that thing? Said, what do you mean? You know, some of the stuff is becoming a little out of date. We're still using about 60 or 70%, but what? So he goes in, and sure enough, it is the same install that he set up 25 years ago, and that machine has never been rebooted in 25 years. So FreeBSD, man, a stable operating system. And there is an ARM version, and it runs on Raspberry Pi, and you only need 512K of RAM. Article. Learn to spell article. Another gaming. The world likes gaming, huh? This is Batocera.Linux. Everybody just calls it Batocera. And one of the really cool things about Batocera is it focuses on retro gaming. It runs on typical computers. It's not just for Pis. You can run it on traditional desktops. But it's designed for single board computers, or at least that's its focus lately. So it likes Pis, it likes Odroids, and all those other things. And one of its really cool features is rewind and plug and play support. So I was playing at this point, I died. Rather than stop or resurrect, this thing will let you backtrack and pick up wherever you like up to a certain point. This is a really old image. They're presently on version 38. You can get that at batocera.org, and I will throw that link here in yon chat. How about SARPi? S-A-R-P-I, SARPi, if you didn't know how to pronounce it. Let's put a slide up for it. Slackware. Slackware was one of the early Linuxes, along with SUSE and Red Hat back in the day, and SCO Unix and whatever. So Slackware is still out there running around doing just fine, and they've got a distro for Raspberry Pi. It's lightweight, really high-speed booting. It's not complete, right? If you go get and install Slackware for PC, it's going to have these 37 apps and these other features. Not all of those apps and not every one of those features has been ported into the Raspberry Pi version. There's a couple people here close to my age who probably remember the Commodore VIC 64, C64, the Commodore 64. Those games and those programs are all online as downloadable ROM files, and somebody wrote an operating system called BMC64, bare metal, Commodore 64. You install this distro, and now you can use all the old Commodore 64 programs that were ever made for it. I think that's freaking cool. 4 more. How are we doing here? Yeah, not bad. I'm only going to run over a couple minutes, so I am going to run over. How about Manjaro Linux? Manjaro. This is another pre-built Arch distro, Arch Linux. Has a lot of pre-installed software packages. You can always add more, compile your own. Lots of good ARM repositories now for Manjaro. In fact, we have the Arch user repository, the AUR. Arch is a rolling release model. They don't have a version and next year they're going to have a new version and next year they're going to have a new version. It's, hey, you know what? There's a handful of really cool features that we found we've incorporated. There's the new release. Might be a week after the last release. Might be a couple weeks. It's never more than a month on most of these rolling distros. Diet Pi. Somebody took the binaries for Raspberry Pi and cut out all the fluff so they can make a really lightweight, low memory intensive version of Raspberry Pi OS. You will find Diet Pi used in a lot of embedded systems. It's great for Pi-hole. Lots of people use it for Pi-hole. The big framework gaming system on which most of the gaming subs or made over systems are built is called Recalbox. You can install that yourself and build your own gaming distro on top of it. Fedora Linux, as we mentioned, they were in the news this week because they're changing to KDE Plasma. This is an old version. As I said, this February they're going to release version 40. This image is version 32. I had a version 38 image, but I wasn't happy with it. But Fedora Linux. It's a Red Hat Enterprise kind of clone. It's an upstream clone. And it's pretty cool. Last one. This is not an operating system per se. It is a lightweight modular operating system, totally command line only. It's called Tiny Core. And it's not specifically designed for the Raspberry Pi PC. You can install it on Raspberry Pi. So kind of like super diet Pi, but it's really designed to run as an embedded system in appliances and on Raspberry Pis and things like that. I got one more slide to get through the show. Oops, let's do this. 2 more? Yeah. What just happened? Okay. So let's do this one. No headshot on here. So here are some of the distros that I have personal experience with. Oh, I'm sorry. This isn't the other distros. The other distros was back here. There we go. Other distros that I've got personal experience with that didn't make that article's list. We've got Oracle Linux. We did that a couple weeks ago. Rocky Linux. Alma Linux is available, Parrot Linux, full blown Oracle, it's Ubuntu Linux. I forgot the word in there. All the Elex, which are platforms for gamings, Retro LX, another gaming distro. So here's the list that I mentioned at the beginning of the show. Upcoming shows, don't hold me to these dates, but as I said, we're going to get Scott in here to talk G's and U. Then we've got SE Linux operations, the Windows Sandbox, that one's ready to go. Odoo CRM, that one's ready to go. Making a bootable ISO for Pixie booting, and then actual Pixie booting. So we've got a lot of fun stuff coming up. All right, kids, let's see who had what to say, and then we will wind things up for the day and the night. Excuse me. Okay, lots of good commentary. I got to go back and catch this thing up. Yes, you need 25 pies. Not going to make any Veronica Jughead or... That's Archie Linux, not Arch Linux. Scott, so glad to see you, my friend. Can't wait to get you on show. And I share your experience. Xerxes is here. Yeah, 25 years running FreeBSD. I don't think you could run 25 years on a Raspberry Pi. Not because I don't think the Pi would last. I don't think the micro SD card would. Hurry, I got class in 5 minutes. Okay, you're done with your part. You go to class. Have fun. Say hi. I'm just going to wind things up here in the next 2-3 seconds anyways. Yes. Oh, Joshua popped up. I missed that. Where did that happen? Kylie? Oh. I got to go way back here. There's Life Outside, Conan. Oh, gosh. Look how far back I had to go. You guys are way back here. All right, I'm going back to 34 minutes past the hour. Right. Some of your comments are great. My Maserati will do 185. Straight to jail. Wait, do people think EV drivers actually sit around waiting for charging? That's one of the brilliant things about EV stations. If you're a store, like a boutique, I'm watching EV charging stations go up in those parking lots. Those are just great for them. Jernigan's ears perked up. Yep, that's what got Scott in. As soon as I started talking EV. That's all right. It's all right. Some of us have to drive EVs. Some of us have to drive EVs. Said no one ever. The Life of Pi. Can't believe nobody's done a show based on that yet. That's good. Oh, Fired Up No Man's Sky. Cool. Thanks for posting my email. Jason, trying to work on a Plex server. I'm not having much luck with it. My old drama, we did installing a Plex server. I'll kick you off a note on one of the back channels. I learned from you. Now I have my ITF A+. Oh, Scott's A+ got Kylie through ITF. Yeah, I saw your post on LinkedIn about getting ITF. PB&J programming. That is an industry standard now, huh? Xerxes is here. Okay, Xerxes is Joshua. Me too. Love Callie. Love Parrot as well. Hurry, Dave. Hurry. All right, now I'm catching up to where I was. I got the Botacera in there. Hey, Dave, says Xerxes. If you were doing a scheduling display to multiple screens for USMC chopper sims that have multiple sims within multiple choppers, I would have multiple embedded pies. Now, I have worked with many, many sims from the 3 big manufacturers. You need horsepower to pull that off. Yes, Horatio, there are more things on heaven and earth than in your philosophy, including Commodore 64 horn blowers. I tried to twist all that together. It didn't come out clean, but at least I got all the references. Commodore was a brick house. Darn right. You couldn't kill them. I did so much ham radio stuff with my C64, and later I had a PET system from Commodore. My family's first computer. So many for us. My first was an IBM clone with an 8088. My first PC clone was from Corona. I try and find one every now and again. They just don't turn up. There was probably 11 made. Yours was a hand-me-down. I've heard many stories about your... What's the first thing you did to your first IBM clone, Scott? As if we didn't all know, but I won't give it away. Deleted what? Never heard of many of these. Hey, cool. Yeah, just check it out in that article. I posted that near the top of this thing. If you didn't get it and you don't want to do that, shoot me a message on one of the back channels and I'll give you the link. His real first computer was a Babbage. A Babbage assimilator. We've been talking on that. Yes, we have. Let's do Plex again. Okay, we'll do Plex again. I think that's a good thing because we can do it on the latest Bullseye, and I haven't started experimenting with Bookworm yet. I'm not running the Sims, just helping with... Oh, it's all about the scheduling. It's not about the Pi. I have no doubt that the Pi could easily handle this. The question is the software. But I'm intrigued. I'll look into that. Oh, God. It's Connor. Sorry, Commodore Brickhouse. Thank you. I'm singing it now. Yes, you wiped out the entire OS. It's kind of like outing you, except you have told the story so many times. I'm not giving away anything. Hey, guys, this was fun. It was a quick put together since Scott is at least able to connect, but we weren't able to get connected together. We will in the next couple of weeks. And we will do G's and You, the world's most awesome title compared to that thing that I came up with. So thank you for that, Scott. Hey, let's wind her up. We'll do this again next Thursday. I wish you all a great rest of the week. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. And if at all possible, please call or visit your parents. And never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. And with that, I bid you good night. I will see you on ADRAMADA next Thursday. I've got other things in the works. I'm going to do pre-recorded, really cool things that will be available on this channel, so you may see me on those. Should I give away the first one? Yes, Dave's Speed Subnetting. To heck with all those other magic numbers and 7-second subnetting. I'm going to teach you 7-second subnetting, and the way I'm going to do it is give you a 7-second example, and then give you a 45-minute presentation on how it works, and then do the 7-second example again. If somebody can spend 50 minutes, 46 minutes of their life with me, they will always be able not only to subnet, but to answer CompTIA questions. You need a subnet that yields at least this many networks and at least this many nodes per network. You can do that in 7 seconds anytime using the Dave method. I know of nobody else who uses this. All right, so with that, good night. See you on ADRAMADA next Thursday, other platforms. Until then, remember, how you do anything is how you do everything. Eep, op, ork, ah, ah.